Well, look what we have here, then. I think we've just been blessed.
Uh-oh. Loghain's men. This can't be good.
Didn't we spend all morning asking about an elf by this very description, and everyone said they hadn't seen one?
It seems we were lied to.
Gentlemen, surely there's no need for trouble. These are no doubt simply more poor souls seeking refuge.
They're more than that. Now stay out of our way, sister. You protect these traitors, you'll get the same as them.
Teyrn Loghain claims the Grey Wardens betrayed the king. Or haven't you heard?
Enough talk! Take the warden into custody. Kill this sister, and anyone else that gets in your way.
Right, let's make this quick.
Dear me, what all the fuss? It's
All right, you've won. We surrender.
good. They've learned their lesson and we can all stop fighting now.
I was there. The Teyrn pulled us out of a trap. The wardens led the king to his death. The Teyrn could do nothing. What do you want to tell him? I'll tell him. Right away, now. Thank you.
I apologize for interfering, but I couldn't just sit by and not help. I am glad you found it in your heart to offer those men mercy. Let me introduce myself. I am Liliana, one of the lay sisters of the Chantry here in Lothering. Oh, I was. They said you were a Grey Warden. I'm surprised you're an elf, but elves must want the Blight defeated as much as humans, no? I know after what happened you will need all the help you can get. That's why I'm coming along. The Maker told me to. Then you believe me? I knew the Maker had sent a true dream. A vision that by serving you, I serve his holy plan.
Perhaps your skull was cracked worse than Mother thought.
Thank you. I appreciate being given this chance. I will not let you down. Indeed.
Really injured here, just so you know.
I don't want any trouble. Please, don't hurt me. Sir Bryant needs to stop those blasted bandits.
You're here about food. Take it up with that bleeding runt by the Chantry. I got other gear to sell. You're here about food. Take it up with that bleeding runt by the Chantry. I got other gear to sell. You're here about food. Take it up with that bleeding runt by the chantry. I got other gear to sell. A whole mess of refugees come in and leave near every night. All have hungry bellies, sad tales, and mementos for barter. I sold that bleeding merchant outside about half my larder 2 weeks back, and now he's charging outrageous sums for all my food.
All over now.
As I live and breathe, you're the Grey Warden everyone's been talking about. I represent the Blackstone Irregulars. We're a mercenary company that fell on hard times after the war with Orlais. I'm sure you know that times are getting worse every day. With your help, the Irregulars could be of use to Ferelden once more. Our leaders thought you might be willing to help. Each of our posts in Ferelden will contain letters addressed to you. Unlike most who work with us, you're getting letters straight from Raelnor and Tauran, our leaders. I hope this tells you how highly the Irregulars regard the Grey Wardens. Thank you. When you've completed a mission, just return to me or any of our members stationed at an Irregulars post. We'll make sure your efforts are rewarded. Maker's blessings light your path.
What now?
Oh, thank you. That's very nice. Oh, thank you. That's very nice. Oh, thank you. That's very nice. Is that for me? Really? Wow! Wow!
A fine gift. You have my thanks.
Did you see the new recruiters out?
Speak.
Keep your voice down if I were you. They're pressing anyone who can hold a sword into service.
Tell him what's the new army, but is it to fight the Darkspawn or those nobles?
They say your mother is Flemeth, a witch of the Kokari Wilds.
They also say that washing your feet in winter makes you catch cold in the head, but we all know that is not true. But sometimes they are right, and they are right in this.
You know the stories about...
Of course. You think my mother would let me go without telling me all the stories of her youth?
My mother told me stories too. She was the one who kindled my love of the old tales and legends.
My mother's stories curdled my blood and haunted my dreams. No little girl wants to hear about the wilder men her mother took to her bed, using them till they were spent, then killing them. No little girl wants to be told that this is also expected of her once she comes of age.
I see.
No, you don't. You really don't.
I want to go home. I don't like this place. Why did we come here? I'm scared. When are we going home? Mother says we have to run before the bad men get here.
I'm scared. When are we going home?
Sorry.
Good day, Sister Leliana. I'm surprised to see you're still in Lothering.
It is good to see you as well, Your Reverence.
I do not recognize your companion. Greetings. Will you be making a donation to the Chantry? Our need has never been greater. I am the revered mother of this Chantry. Traditionally, those who seek my blessing tithe first. Might I suggest 30 silver? One out of one is a more generous gift than 10 out of thousands. What can I do for you then? It might have been kinder to execute him, but I leave his fate to the Maker. Why does he interest you? The Maker demands justice, regardless of his race. Then his next victims might count you and me as their murderers. That seems highly unlikely. Do you have any sort of papers to corroborate your story? A Grey Warden? Oh dear, I will have to ask you to leave before you bring trouble on our heads. To defend against the Blight? Perhaps that is a form of atonement. But are you certain you can control him? No, I cannot. There will be too much trouble for us if we are seen cooperating with you.
Now we threaten priests. How fun!
Whoa, whoa! Let's not get out of hand here.
What is the meaning of this? You would threaten me with violence?
Your Reverence, please. We are on an important mission. Let us take the Qunari off your hands. I beg you.
I see. And if not, I am to be assaulted. Is this what we have come to?
No, Your Reverence. I will not allow that to happen.
I have more important matters to concern me. Here, take the key to the creature's cage and begone. Do not return.
What?
So, let me get this straight. You were a cloistered sister?
You must have been a brother before you became a Templar, no?
I never actually became a Templar. I was recruited into the Grey Wardens before I took my final vows.
Do you ever regret leaving the Chantry?
No, never. Do you?
Yes. You may not believe it, but I found peace there. The kind of peace I've never known.
It used to get so quiet at the monastery that I would start screaming until one of the brothers came running. I would tell them that I was just checking. You never know, right?
No, I never did anything like that. I enjoyed the quiet.
Suit yourself. The look on their face was always priceless.
You wish something more of me? I confess, I did not think the priestess would part with it. Perhaps we have different ideas of freedom. What are you doing that requires help? You are a Grey Warden. Even in the far north, we have heard the legends of their strength and skill. But I suppose not every legend is true. Set me free and I will follow you against the Blight. And so it is done. I will follow you into battle. In doing so, I shall find my atonement. May we proceed? I am eager to be elsewhere.
Blood and damnation.
Yes.
We done heard what was said. You're a warden. I don't know if you killed King Cailan, and make her forgive me, I don't care. But that bounty on your head could feed a lot of hungry bellies. Attack!
They're all so evil, Of course, I'm all right, and so I shall. Oh my! Well, all right.
Bad dreams, huh? Well, it is real, sort of. You see, part of being a Grey Warden is being able to hear the Darkspawn. That's what your dream was, hearing them. The Archdemon, it talks to the Horde, and we feel it just as they do. That's why we know this is really a Blight. I don't know if it's really a dragon, but it sure looks like one. But yes, that's the Archdemon. It takes a bit, but eventually you can block the dreams out. Some of the older Grey Wardens say they can understand the Archdemon a bit, but I sure can't. Anyhow, when I heard you thrashing around, I thought I should tell you. It was scary at first for me, too. That's what I'm here for. To deliver unpleasant news and witty one-liners. Anyhow, you're up now, right? Let's pull up camp and get a move on. Oh, thank you. That's very nice. What do you need? Ask away. Essentially, they're trained to fight. The Chantry would tell you that the Templars exist simply to defend. But don't let them fool you. They're an army. The other main purpose for a Templar is, of course, to hunt mages. To that end, we train in talents that drain mana and disrupt spells. Perhaps, but there usually isn't much of an opportunity. The Chantry keeps a close rein on its Templars. We are given lyrium to help develop our magical talents, you see. Which means we become addicted. And since the Chantry controls the lyrium trade with the dwarves, well, I'm sure you can put 2 and 2 together. Thankfully, no. You only start receiving lyrium once you've taken your vows. You don't need lyrium in order to learn the Templar talents. Lyrium just makes Templars' talents more effective. Or so I was told. Maybe it doesn't even do that. The Chantry usually doesn't let their Templars get away either, so they can spread their secrets. I'm a bit of an exception. Lucky me. What do you need? Ask away. Such as they are. That's a good question. There's plenty in Orlais, but who knows where they might be found. And the nearest Orlesian city is weeks away. If we go north and across the sea, there's bound to be some in the Free Marches. Again, however, I just don't know where. I don't know anything about Grey Wardens in other lands. Here in Ferelden, there's our compound in Denerim at the palace, but that's it. Loghain will have control over that and be watching it, no doubt. Beyond that, the only place I know of is Weishaupt Fortress. That's the headquarters of all Grey Wardens in the Anderfells, 1,000 miles from here. But I've no idea how to even contact them. So unless we try to get back to the compound in Denerim, I suppose the answer is no. There's nowhere for us to go. I imagine that eventually the Grey Wardens outside of Ferelden will wonder what's happened. Why there's no contact from Duncan or someone. They'll send someone eventually. Though who knows what Loghain's people in Denerim will tell them. Maybe they won't send anyone. We could try to contact them. But that would mean leaving Ferelden, and even if we did, they couldn't come back with us in time to stop the Blight. So that means whatever happens, it's up to us. I mean, eventually we would have to use the joining to make more Grey Wardens, right? But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it involves lyrium and some other magic, and that it's really difficult to prepare, but that's it. Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be 2 of us for now. Until more come from elsewhere. Just left? You mean just left Ferelden? I don't know. If there's an archdemon, however, we're supposed to be the only ones who can defeat it. And that means the Blight will grow unchecked. Eventually, other Grey Wardens in Orlais and other lands would hear about it, and they would come to fight it, but they wouldn't come in time to save Ferelden. There's no way. I'm not going anywhere. About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need? Ask away. Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you? I do my best. What can I say? Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills. Well, it wasn't an easy life, you know. I don't know whether or not you've noticed, but I'm not exactly the Chantry type. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky. I wondered that myself. It's not as if she valued me highly. I think she just didn't want to give anything to the Grey Wardens, is all. The Chantry didn't lose much. And I think I can do more fighting the Blight anyhow, rather than sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have. He was. A good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking. What do you need? You don't have to do that. I know you didn't know him as long as I did. I should have handled it better. Duncan warned me right from the beginning that this could happen. Any of us could die in battle. I shouldn't have lost it, when so much is riding on us, not with the Blight and everything. I'm sorry. I'd like to have a proper funeral for him. Maybe once this is all done, if we're still alive. I don't think he had any family to speak of. I suppose he did. It probably sounds stupid, but part of me wishes I was with him, in the battle. I feel like I abandoned him. Yes. I know. I think he came from Highever, or so he said. Maybe I'll go up there sometime. See about putting up something in his honor. I don't know. The Dalish don't practice cremation, do they? How do your people honor your dead? That sounds quite beautiful. Life springing from death. Thank you. Really, I mean it. It was good to talk about it, at least a little. I'd like that. So would he, I think.
You're a hard woman to find. Where are my manners? The name is Levy. Levy Dryden. Did Duncan ever mention me? Levy of the Coins? Levy the Trader? Really? He never told you of old Levy? We've known each other for years. But here I am carrying on while you have a blight to stop. Don't want to waste your time. But you see, Duncan promised that together we'd look into something important for the Wardens. And for me. But poor Duncan's... well, no more. A tragedy it is, at that. But I know he would want his work carried on. His pledge fulfilled. It's a bit of a tale, that is. But I'm the one who brought the Grey Wardens back to Ferelden. Well, I was one of the ones. There were a lot of us. Maker's breath, I'm a bit nervous. Honoured to be here, really. After King Marek freed us from the Orlesians, the Grey Wardens begged the King's permission to come into Ferelden, some sort of internal business. Me and a mess of other Warden sympathisers spoke on behalf of your order. Tan Loghain was very much against letting Orlesian Wardens in the kingdom. But Marek, Andraste, bless him, was a fair-minded monarch and he let them in. So that's why I was there when the Wardens and their leader, Genevieve, presented herself to the king. The first Wardens in Ferelden in over a century. Proudest day of my life, that was. Duncan was a bit of a scamp back then. We were of an age and struck up a friendship. The king himself went with the Wardens on their mysterious business. When he returned, he rescinded King Ardland's decree, and the Wardens came back to Ferelden for good. People say it's because the Wardens have become terribly unpopular. Just soaking up tires and not doing a bleeding thing for the kingdom. I say that's bollocks, as recent events have shown. My family, well, past a bit checkered to see. Nobles look at us with disdain. My great-great-grandmother, Sophia Dryden, was the last Warden Commander of Ferelden back when the Wardens were known as freeloaders. So King Arland banished the Wardens, and he took House Dryden's land and titles. Hard to say. After King Arland died, there was a civil war, loads worse than this one. And our family was on the run, hunted by enemies, with nary a friend in the world. But Drydens are tough. We rebuilt, became merchants, and we never lost our pride. Our family's only crime was guarding the kingdom against the Blight. We're not ashamed of that. Duncan wanted to reclaim the old Grey Warden base, Soldier's Peak, and perhaps we'll uncover evidence to restore my family's honour along the way. Nobody's been to Soldier's Peak since the Grey Wardens were banished, but I found a way. They say it's haunted, and it's certainly dangerous. Will you help me? 1,000 blessings upon you, Warden. I'll mark down the location on your map. When you arrive, we'll pick our way through the tunnels together.
Ah, it's good to see you, my timely rescuer. Bodon Fennick, at your service, once again. I saw your camp and remember the kind offer that you made the last time we met. And is there anywhere safer for a poor merchant and his son to sleep? I think not. I'm perfectly willing to offer you a fine discount for the inconvenience of our presence. How does that sound? Good? Yes? I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount. Are you sure I can't interest you in this hat? A pair of earrings, perhaps? A cheese knife? I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Why are we stopping? There are Darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful? You are concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight. No. People are not simple. They cannot be summarized for easy reference in the manner of, the elves are a lithe, pointy-eared people who excel at poverty. Many humans have said that to me. I do not understand it. If I were indeed hostile, you would be bleeding. I am. I have always fought in war, Elf. My people have been at war since the moment we set foot in the Northern Islands. We do now. The enemy is everywhere. The jungle itself, vipers, hunting cats, even some of the flowers can kill the unwary. And always there is the Imperium and the Tal Vashoth. I do not see how this matters. Seheron and Parvolan are distant. Ferelden and the Darkspawn are immediate. As you wish.
Yes? Well, here I am. Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose. When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools. What can I say to them? What they believe is what the Chantry says, and the Chantry is infallible, yes? Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the Chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now. Yes? Well, here I am. I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell, and the darkness drew me in. When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rosebush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith. In my dream, I fell, or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the Blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the Blight devours everything? That is why you're a Grey Warden. Come, there's a Blight to stop.
die, you little... Your furry friend here took offense at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look. Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me. I once heard a really old legend about how the Hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished. Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh. Oh, like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone. It's not cannibalism if he's eating it, you know.
Look at what your fool dog placed in my pack. A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables. I think I have enough meat where it counts, and I certainly don't need it in my pack. The dirty mongrel can have this back, there, and tell him not to do it again.
You are a true warrior and worthy of respect.
What do you wish of me? If you must. Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I? Oh, what luck. What is it you asked if I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness. For the most part, Flemeth taught me well. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for. I think not. I am no frail flower wilting at the first heat. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be traveling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested. Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting? Do not speak to me of trivialities. Your culture is not so entirely different. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes, how to eat at a table, how to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again. Yes, here I am. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes? What do you wish of me? We are in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any. I am here because Flemeth commanded me to aid you. Why? Do you wish me to leave? I can do so if you prefer. Then I assume our discussion ends here. What do you wish of me? If you must. I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend. Changing her form, certainly. Devouring lost children, I cannot say. She has not done it in my experience, though in truth my lifespan is but a fraction of her own. Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know? The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess. Anyone with sufficient will, but the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell and thus requires a mage's talents. If you had a notion to learn such a skill for yourself, sadly, you must remain disappointed. There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary. They do not shy away from me. To their senses, I believe I seem like any other of their species. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just as I am still human, no matter my form, they are still animals. Thus they cannot speak, even were I to ask. Oh? Then I have no doubt your people do much to keep their talents well hidden from humans. I wonder if I was to ask one of your keepers of the origin of their magics, if there would be any relation to what I was taught. Ah, this makes sense according to what I know of the elves. Alas. Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch? A most practical opinion. Far more so than any man I have spoken to. But enough of such talk. Let us proceed, lest the dust gather on us.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice. 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 What do you need? Ask away. Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact. Well, if you're going to go and pay attention to the facts, then fine. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Our Lehman wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough. Our Lehman eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, then you, Arlessa, resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me. Maybe. She felt threatened by my presence, I can see that now. I can't say I blame her. She wondered if the rumors were true herself, I bet. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming. And raised my dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Caelan's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story. Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
And here we are, Soldier's Peak. Maker's breath. Look at the size of her. What a fortress. I told you the map would get us through the tunnels. I wasn't lost, it's just that the map got soggy. Bah! We're here. So, I'll follow you about, from a distance. This place has the stench of death. I expect there's trouble up ahead.